Hello, it's Claire from Come Back Brighter here. Now, I'm going to talk to you today about the dynamic between you and your parents. Okay. So generally my videos tend to be obviously focused on the narcissistic parent. Okay. And then the dynamic between you and them. But what I've realized in my own experiences, because I believe that both my parents are narcissists, is that there's a dynamic between your parents and you also that is, well, I would say interesting now, but very revealing and can tell you an awful lot about and help you towards the healing process. So I think what happens is sometimes, if you're the scapegoat, you're the scapegoat. Okay, that's it. Okay, but actually, what can happen is that you can have different roles for different parents. Okay, and that adds to the real toxicity of the dynamic between you and your two different parents. Okay, so for one parent you might be the scapegoat, and for the other parent you might be the golden child. Okay, and this shows the sick dynamic between both the parents, both the narcissistic parents, because the one parent that you're the scapegoat will be so jealous about you being the golden child to the other parent. So then I find myself asking the question, why are you the golden child to the other parent? And I've got to say that I think that what one parent will do maybe to treat you more like the golden child, that is to annoy and frustrate and foster resentment and competition between your other parent and you. So that shows the toxicity of it. Okay. So and that's why it's really twisted. So I can see, in my dynamic, I think I was my mother's scapegoat 100% of the time. And I do think that I was my father's scapegoat, but I was probably more golden child. So there was a bit of golden child thrown in there. Okay. But it wasn't because I was the golden child. It was because he could use treating me as the golden child as a weapon against his wife and my siblings. Okay. So what that meant was, instead of me actually being the golden child, okay, it actually meant that I was scapegoated worse. Okay, I think, because momentarily I was the favorite of my father. Okay, so, and I think that's just what makes the whole dynamic even more difficult to understand, because you can be treated very differently by one parent and the other. Okay, but it's still toxic. It's still not a good dynamic, because it's not about love and acceptance and having a decent, safe and secure relationship with either parent. It's not about unconditional love. If you're the golden child to one parent, or let's just say you have that role more frequently than you do with the other parent, so you're not actually all out golden child, but you do have that role with one other parent, it's only used to foster competition, resentment, dislike, hatred, jealousy between the other parent and your siblings. That's the only reason why it's used. So it's not, it can be so confusing. And the other thing is, it can be so confusing because if I was honest, right, I would say that I was probably my dad's golden child, right? If you'd asked me at the beginning of No Contact. But actually, I can see how he scapegoated me. It was like, I think, again, it's contrast, isn't it? Because I think I was always scapegoated by my mother 100% of the time, right? If there was any problems in the house, if she was annoyed about something, if she broke something, she was having a bad day, she would do everything she could to pick at me, to be like passive aggressively vindictive, unpleasant, unkind, all these things. And consistently, that's what she was like. But my father was more inconsistent with how he scapegoated me. So he did, I was his scapegoat, 100%. As the only daughter of a misogynist father, I was the scapegoat, 100%, okay? Plus, I think I was a greater target for it because I'm an empath. Anyway, so 100%, I was a scapegoat. Occasionally, though, like I say, he would treat me as his golden child, okay? And that's only in contrast to my mother, who never did. So that's the thing. That's what can be so confusing, is that you can be, for one parent, entirely one role, and for the other parent, one role, but with a bit of the other role thrown in there. But it's only used against you. And what it does is, it really sick. But what it does, it makes you a bigger target of abuse for the rest of your family. So whilst you appear to be the favorite of one parent, the golden child of one parent, temporarily, that puts a bigger target on your back for your other parent and your siblings. So when your parent treats you like the golden child, okay, it seems like it's good, but actually what it means is that you're getting more of it from the rest of the family. And actually, the parent that's treating you like the golden child, they are loving it that the rest of the family, including your other parent, resents you, is jealous of you, dislikes you, hates you for it even. So it can appear that it's a good thing, and I say that in air quotes because it's not a good thing. It can appear that it's a good thing for you, but actually all it does is it makes you a bigger target for their abuse. It's like the narcissist likes to see how much power they've got. So they'll occasionally be nice to the scapegoat, okay? Occasionally treat them like the golden child, but it's only to see how much dislike there is in the rest of the family. They can stand back and they can go, oh boy, yes, they really hate her, don't they? Yeah, including her other parent too. Yeah, and all her siblings. They really hate her, don't they? And they rub their hands together with glee. They love it. Because just as quickly as you're the golden child, you're back to the scapegoat again. But they're actually using your scapegoat, your golden child status, temporary golden child status, in order to get the rest of the family to abuse you. So they can sit back and they go, look what I've done, look. I've made their other parent hate them. I've made their siblings jealous of them. Aren't I clever? Let's just have a look. Let's step back and see what this dynamic is. Oh, look at that. There it is. All playing out in front of their eyes. So it like reassures them. It reassures them that their manipulations have worked and that they have power and control over every single member of their family. So it can be really difficult. It can be really difficult. And I think the other thing as well, and I've mentioned this previously, is that when you're the scapegoat of the family and anybody does anything in the family that's not abusive, we see it as love. We see it as them caring about us. But it's not. It's just not abusive. So in those moments when I thought that my father was treating me like the golden child, do you know what? He might not have been treating me like the golden child. He might just have been not abusive. because he wasn't like, oh, I don't know. It wasn't like, I don't quite know how to explain it. He wasn't like effusive with the praise or the attention or the material possessions or the money or whatever it was, however he expressed it. It was just that he wasn't abusive. So we can get a really twisted idea of what love is, okay? What love is, because we've been raised in a toxic environment. We've been conditioned to see love equals survival. And that's not the same thing at all. So whilst the narcissistic parent is calm and stable, and the scapegoat is a scapegoat, and the golden child is a golden child, then everything's okay. Everyone knows where they stand. But narcissists are incredibly sensitive and volatile people. And it doesn't take much to set them off into like an ego, like a insult to their ego, or some sort of what they feel is like a dent on their image. And then they are angry, whether they are overt about it or they're covert about it. So they're either passive aggressive about it, like the silent treatment, the stonewalling, whatever, or they're overt about their rage and they'll shout and scream about it. So they're really unpredictable, they're erratic. And then everyone's all jumbled up and back on the eggshells again properly, really fully like tiptoeing around the narcissist again to, oh, are they okay again? Are they stable? What do I have to do? What do I have to do to make them be stable again and calm so I know exactly where I stand? What do I have to do to get back to this position again? So it's really, I'm just working through this myself, right? As I'm doing this video, talking it out, I'm just working out that actually, I don't think I was the golden child. I just had moments, brief moments, when I wasn't being abused by my father. And I took that as I was being treated like the golden child. Isn't that strange? But it was only with an agenda. None of it was about love or acceptance. No. What the narcissist does is they withhold their love and acceptance. And occasionally what they'll do is they'll give one person something that looks like love, that might be attention or money or financial or possessions or whatever it is. One person. And then the rest of the family's jealous because that one person's okay, they're safe. Because everybody feels dependent on the narcissist for their survival. And then what they'll do is they'll take it away from that person, they give it to somebody else. And then everybody's in competition with that person, fighting amongst themselves to see who can get that love, that survival. They won't be abandoned by the narcissist. And that's what it is. That's what life is, being raised by a narcissistic parent. And it includes the other parent too. And the thing about that is that the other parent does have the possibility to leave. But of course, they've been isolated. Their confidence has been destroyed, all the things. So they don't feel they can leave either. The narcissist will take control of the finances to make it impossible for them to leave, or the car, or whatever. So that can be the dynamic. And then what happens is, I think we feel loved by the narcissist temporarily. And we put our rose-tinted glasses on and we look back and think, oh, they did that thing and they did that thing and it was really good and they showed that they loved and cared for me. But no, that's not what it is. It's just that they weren't abusive during that time. And the narcissist, let's not forget, the priority for the narcissist is to make sure that they always have power and control over every single family member. And they will do whatever they have to maintain that power and control. That's all they're interested in. They want power and control over every single member of the family. And that includes their partner. So they will do what they have to maintain that power and control over everybody. So it can be, this is a difficult one to unpick, but I think the big realization for me is when I realized that behaviors that I thought were loving and caring from either of my parents, it wasn't that they were loving and caring. It's just that they weren't abusive. And that's huge. Because actually coming from a narcissistic family, having a narcissistic parent or two narcissistic parents, love and acceptance is not a thing. It's used against you. You're striving for it all the time. You're hoping one day I'm going to do this thing, and then they're going to love and accept me. And they tell you that, or they hint at that. And then when you get there, they move the goalposts. They tell you it wasn't good enough. Because you have to earn their love. That's how they make you feel. You have to earn their love. And that's not how unconditional love works. That's not how parents should be with their child. So much of this, I think, is our expectations of what a parent should be when we've come from a narcissistic family are so low. The bar is so low. And occasionally I'll be talking to people. I'll be talking to somebody who's unaware that their parent is narcissistic. And they will drop things into conversation. And I'll be like, wow, the bar is so low. Like I just said, like they might do something. I'm trying to think of an example. You know, like my mum did with me, with like my weight. Oh, you're putting weight on, and we've got a history of heart disease in the family and all this stuff. And it made it look like she cared, but it wasn't. It was about getting a little snipe at me. And then when I started to lose weight, she was like, well, don't lose too much weight and get gaunt, will you? So I couldn't win. And I didn't take that as caring, but you see, some people might take that as caring. I didn't take that as caring. I took both as little jibes at me, little jabs, little things to hurt me, to make me scared, to make me afraid, to point out that I was overweight or I was going to be underweight, whatever it was. It wasn't about caring. It was about just being bitchy. And when you come from that, your expectations of a decent parent are so low. But the thing is about it is that it's scary, because if you do start to apply what you think are the behaviors of a loving parent to your narcissistic parent, then you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to think that it's you, because they make you feel like it's your fault that you're unlovable. But the truth is they're not capable of loving. Because it's really hard to actually look at it and to see their behaviors and not try to put the rose-tinted glasses on to see it. Oh, they did that because they cared. They said that because they care about me. Oh, really? Just for 1 minute, right? Imagine how someone who didn't like you would speak to you. And how they did that or said that. Is it really that far off? That's the thing. It's like, if this is supposed to be someone that loves you, treating you like this, how would someone that hates you treat you? That was like an eye-opener for me, is when I was like, well, hang on a minute. I took that as them being caring, but actually there was a passive-aggressive undertone to it. So if that's supposed to be loving me, it's not hitting the mark. And if it's supposed to be caring about me, it doesn't hit the mark either. What would somebody say who didn't like me? And who was passive-aggressive? Or who wasn't passive-aggressive? Because sometimes a narcissist can be really obvious about how they feel about you, because they'll tell you. Both my parents were very passive aggressive, very subtle, deniable, you see. The tone, the facial expressions, the way things are said, you know. So anyway, just think about that. Just sit on that for a little while and just think about it, and think about, you know, yeah, if this is how someone who loves you is treating you and talking to you, then would it be very much different if they didn't like you and they made it obvious? There's not much between it. Anyway, if you need my support, I'm here for you. Leave a message below or email me, Clare, CLARE, comebackbrighter@gmail.com. Bye.